Hi there, Jeremy O'Carroll, Director of the Fitzroy Learning Centres here. In today's video I'm wanting to address a question that I'm really often asked as I speak to parents and teachers around the world, and that is, how long should it take your child to learn to read fluently? Now, the true answer to this question is there's no absolute set or fixed time frame for which a child should learn to read to write. It varies, of course, according to the individual, perhaps a little bit according to boys and girls. And really what I'd like to say is it's better off as a parent or educator to stay fairly calm and relaxed about the whole process. What really matters is that ultimately your student or child learns to read and write well. And so I think you've got to start gaining or developing a long-term view on literacy. Parents and educators can often be a little bit impatient. They want to see results immediately, but in trying to get immediate results, they often psychologically hinder the progress of students. In other words, if you're putting a lot of pressure on students, if you're taking shortcuts to get them to read and write quickly or too quickly, then often they're going to resent the process and they'll end up having negative associations with learning to read and write, which is ultimately detrimental to where you want them to go. So, as a general rule, we can say that with reading, children, once they hit 10, 11, should be reading fairly fluently by then. Certainly by the time they're a little bit older, 12, they should have absolutely no problems reading general literature. Now, it can take a little bit longer to write accurately and also to be very competent at grammar. So what we normally see, say with the Fitzroy method, is that children will be learning to read well by the age of about 10, but then it takes them a little bit longer to, say, master English grammar, and we would normally allow them till the end of primary school for this. And with writing, we just accept that although in our method we hope that students write pretty well as they read, there's always going to be a slight gap in the two abilities. Students will always read a little bit better than they can write. And that's the same for us as parents or educators. You know, we could grab a novel and we could easily read every word in it, but if we were asked to spell every single word, there might be a few there which we're a little bit uncertain of. But of course we have no trouble reading them. So it is obviously easier to read than to write. But in a good literacy program, the two shouldn't be too far apart. Now, of course, with reading, there are more skills than just reading and writing and even grammar. One of the key skills which you need to learn is that of comprehension, because, of course, reading is all about comprehension, and if you don't comprehend what you're reading, then there's almost no point to have read it. And so you need to, along with your reading and writing and grammar skills, develop comprehension skills. Now, these actually should be developed fairly early on, and again, by the time a child, even a little child actually, about 6 or 7, should be able to comprehend pretty well and answer questions that have come or been derived from a particular storybook or reader. And so what I really suggest then is you just keep relaxed with this whole issue, don't stress over it, keep the long-term picture in mind, but as a general guide, know that by the time a child is about 10, he should be reading pretty fluently. But then allow a little bit more time for the written ability to match that reading fluency, and allow a little bit more time still for the grammar skills to get to a high level. Remember, the main thing though is that in teaching your children, you instill a love of reading and writing in them. Because what you know is this: if children love to learn to read, if they love to write, if they even enjoy doing grammar, then when they leave school, when they get out of your classroom, they're going to continue to read. But if you force them to do things very much against their will, if learning to read and write is a miserable process, then even if they learn to read and write very quickly, even if they're 7 years old and they can read and write perfectly, then what's going to happen is they'll quit reading and writing the moment they're free to do so. And that, of course, is going to be hugely detrimental to their lives as a whole, because we know that people who read a lot tend to have a lot of success in life, and it's just so critical to learning new skills and discovering more things about the world. So yes, be ambitious, that's totally fine. Yes, give your students or child all the support necessary to read at the earliest possible rate, but don't stress, don't put them under pressure, keep the long-term picture in mind, and know that if, even if they're not super quick, but they get to reading well at around about 10 and they master the grammar and writing skills by the end of primary, that really is totally adequate. You should be happy with that. So, hope this gave you a bit of an idea of what you can expect from your child and what to think about with the learning, how long it will take to learn to read and write. And if you're interested in finding out more information on phonics or perhaps the Fitzroy method or the Fitzroy Learning Centres, then what I recommend is that you just note down the link at the end of this video which we're going to give you, and that's going to direct you to the Fitzroy Method online video portal. And once you get there, then you're going to have access to lots of free videos and articles which will help you learn more, as I said, about the Fitzroy Method, about phonics and the Fitzroy Learning Centres. So hope this video has been useful, and I look forward to hearing from you sometime in the future. Thank you.